5 p.m., August 20th. Oh, Jesus. Marion does.
Oh, boy.
Right now?
Yes, we do. I was told. Good evening.
Good evening. Speak up. Oh,
The meeting will come to order.
okay.
Wow.
I only have one hand now.
If you do that, I can turn it down a little bit.
I can throw
Try
it
it
too.
again. Don't blame you.
Welcome to the meeting of the select board on August 25th at 5 p.m. We're gonna get a stamp,
Yep.
so that we could throw it at each
Yep.
other up here. For right now, we
Yes.
don't. Our meeting agenda has been posted in 3 places. It has been posted properly, correct? Correct. Okay, so we can proceed with our meeting. Are there any additions or deletions to the business on the agenda? We got enough going on with it.
Okay with the worker?
Yeah, we are.
Okay.
Yeah, we've had no worker before. Yeah. So our first order of business is to approve prior meeting minutes. And we are approving minutes for August 11th and special meeting minutes. And before we get into just the regular thing, there was a request from Lori Church to include and amend the minutes that were taken for the July 22nd informational meeting down at the auditorium. And she wanted to include a transcript of the meeting. Now, a transcript is not minutes of the meeting. A transcript is 41 pages of direct comment, exactly, including all the ums and ohs and all of the typos. My name is actually printed as Pat Harmony. So I really am not going to amend the meeting minutes to include this complete 41-page transcript. And it's not a precedence that I want to set going forward, even though that was not a select board meeting, that was an informational meeting. Therefore, there's not a lot of requirements for an informational meeting. But I will extend the courtesy to amend the July 26th meeting minutes to note at the end of the minutes that if anyone is interested in viewing a transcript, they can listen and watch it on Orca Media, or they can read about it in the Herald, which are our official videographers and official newspapers of the town. So you can always refer to them. Now, of course, they're not here tonight, but they're here for typically most every meeting that we have. So obtaining that information and watching that video is easily accessible, and you can watch it on your phone, your YouTube, whatever program or direct with Orca Media. So that is available, and you yourselves could read this transcript of everything that anyone said at that meeting, including all the typos, the oohs and the ums, lots of ums in there. So that's how I'm going to address this issue, Lori. Thank you for doing this. I'm sure there was a program that just transcribed what everyone was saying. But it's not edited down properly. So I'm not going to add it to that, but I will, and I'm not going to add a link to it either, but I will invite everyone to watch it via Orca Media. Do we,
Was that the cell tower?
yes, it was. Anybody else have a comment? I move that we amend the July 22nd meeting minutes to include a sentence that says, if you would like to view or hear a transcript of this meeting, you can see it on orcamedia.com.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That one has been amended. Now we're going to go on to the other boring ones here. The next one that we have is August 11th, 2025. It was a good productive meeting. I move that we accept the meetings from August 11th, 2025. I saw nothing that was of concern here except, no, the other one here. I move that we accept the meeting minutes from August 11th, 2025.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Now, we have a special meeting minutes. And I just need to question what date this was done. The
same date
special
the
meeting.
was.
The same day.
Okay, because it does say April 11th.
Oh, God.
So we're going to
Thank you.
change the date from April
That's
11th to 2025 to August 11th, 2025. That said, that's the only change that I do see.
Thanks.
So I move that yeah, he would be sending someone in a wild goose chase. With that one correction, I move that we accept the meeting minutes from August 11th, 2025, formerly known as April 11th, 2025.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Well done. I want to run through the departmental reports real quick so that we can move on to the new business, which could take up some time. So let's get our working people home here. Do we have anyone on the library? How are we doing with the highway department?
Start mowing today,
Nice.
and I have one request that the board send a letter to the new driveway on Quarry Hill and request that he move his gate back,
Oh,
because that won't be there come spring.
Fair.
a lot of people have noticed that new driveway.
And I'm not gonna back away from it. I'm just sick of people putting things in the right of way. Need to think,
So your concern is snow plowing, it's gonna,
yeah, it's right close to the edge of the pavement and it's gonna get it with the plow.
Yeah, a lot of people have noticed
That one
that,
down the bottom.
that driveway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they used to have gate that was back 20 feet, which was perfect. But now everybody wants to put everything right on the edge of the ditch.
It's kind of nice to pull into the driveway and then go open the gate and then continue driving instead of parking in the road, but that's where my gate is.
Other than that, I guess life is the same.
I can take on that for you. And because of the driveway cut, we have the information and all of
just
that,
approve
so
that,
driveway cut, yeah.
yeah, okay.
And mowing will take place for another week and a half.
Probably 2 weeks.
Okay, okay, so everyone careful on the roads. There'll be a tractor with a mower right around the corner. And we want them to come back. Utilities operator,
Well, we had a sewer pump go,
I saw that.
it's wired different, and I don't have a schematic to it,
Uh-oh.
so I got a guy coming sometime.
That's that extra one we've been having on the shelf for quite a while.
Well, we got 3 of them down there, but that's another thing is, that place down there gotta get cleaned out, I got another wire somewhere, or 2 others that I need to find. There's so many empties down there. We had a heck of a time finding the one we found. I mean, that's a
Empties.
joke having that much stuff stuffed in there.
And what are the empties?
Returnable.
Oh,
So, you know, I
whose are,
fine if they're gonna store them, but they shouldn't be allowed to store that many.
whose are they? Oh,
The returnable bottles, you must be referring.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh,
Yep.
down here.
If we had known that he was going to need to get in there, we would have had everything out of there.
But
okay.
you know what? I didn't know the pump was gonna go, so I didn't really have time enough to look around.
Well, we would
And
have,
that'd be the same way the next time.
well, I think that you can get things out of there now.
That was my question. Are they still, is it still down there?
They're there, but they're coming out.
Okay, deal.
But he can get anything out of there now that he needs to get out of there.
Okay,
But we did not know that he was, when he was coming.
okay. That's why we say we learn as we go. So.
Right, so why don't
So
you
noted.
clean them out every other week or something, so you don't get this problem?
Yeah,
I mean, I have no place to store stuff for the water and sewer. I mean, Mike's been in the building down there, you see how much space I got.
It's tight.
Right, and
It's, everything's piled on top of something else, so you know. It'd be nice if we could have a little of that space to put in, I mean, I think it's kind of wasted space just to put empties in.
right, and because the space is there, it gets used by somebody somewhere somehow, so, yeah, knowing that it's a shared space. I think we're so noted. Going forward,
Yeah, so it, you know, I don't know when we'll have that other pump, but I'm hoping Friday. That's the best the guy can do.
so you're getting a whole new pump,
It's already in,
but it was one of them from downstairs you put
Right.
in, so you're getting parts to get it activated?
no, I'm getting a guy that can rewire the control. So it will run.
Okay. And keep his name handy, because we have 2 more pumps down there.
He's the one I have all the time. aiming
Okay,
work on the
good.
Controls.
Okay, good to have somebody like that. And you've been monitoring that one for quite a while already.
Both of them, probably the other one's gonna. They're actually operating at 15%
Mhm.
lower than what they should be. So theoretically, it's costing us a little bit more for electricity. And it counts against us when we wanna add to that sewer system.
Mhm.
Because we're actually pumping 15% less than what it's saying.
Yeah,
So it's catch-22, but the other thing is the pumps are 25,000 a piece.
yeah.
If you know, took me 6 weeks to find these. Cause we got written up on it once to have them replaced, and then we bought them, and then I talked them out of it, cause I figured we could get a couple more years out of it. But
And
they're
we did.
21 years old,
And we did, we got a couple more years out of them.
so. I got an idea the other one get changed soon.
Yep, we hear you on that. And it begins, so maybe we have to start looking for grants. There are some out there that are tied to the affordable housing thing that they want, they want to bring in more housing into the communities, so they realize a lot of communities are restricted by their septic sewers. And now they're gonna be doling out money to improve septic and sewer systems so that they can trickle it down to more housing. So I'll start looking around to see what might be available. We can stock up on more parts. Jeff Gephardt? Grant updates.
Nothing this time.
We closed out a grant this time around, didn't
I'm
we?
working on, Hooters grant and aid and his class 2 right now.
VHI management update.
Yeah, a couple of things. We had a very productive meeting here last Friday with Julie and Kristen, the town's attorney. Going over the processes for bill paying and authorization and, who signs checks and that sort of thing. And, following on that, the town attorney drafted an updated management agreement. We now have that, we're reviewing it, we'll follow up on that. We get that put to bed before too long, so I think that's going well. Had also on Friday, meeting with the architect and construction manager, Sarah Raitt from Two Rivers. Current update on the cost estimate for phase 1 capital project is 4.8 million. And for a couple of reasons. One is to give more time for fundraising and more grants to meet that number, as well as construction managers opinion on that construction costs would be better in the spring as opposed to the fall. We're talking about going to construction or being ready to do that in the spring and still have it completed by the fall of 2026. since doing it that way, you can work on the inside and the outside of the building at the same time as opposed to not being able to do that, working through the winter. And then, the conversations are continuing with the Community College of Vermont about creating and locating a early childhood development course and practicum tied in with the child care center here. One of the big issues statewide and probably nationally is workforce, finding people to work at child care centers. And so this is a strategy to help make that more feasible and get a leg up in terms of the search for people to do that kind of work. So
A
that's
special kind of person.
yes.
So how do we stand with occupancy and leases? I know that we have the management agreement at hand.
Yes.
So perhaps, by our next meeting, that might be put to bed. And when will we have tenants in there? Are they?
Well, the first one would be our set, using the existing space in the theater side of the building. We expect them to be in next week, and that would be to use the art room, the music room, the theater itself on occasion, and for I think it's Monday and Tuesdays of the week. So that's what's in store for this year that we know so far.
Okay, it's a start, something to build upon. That's kind of our anchor tenant too.
Yeah.
It's great to see a school being used for kids. Thank you. Let's move on to select board updates. Since our last meeting, I think I'm gonna be working backwards a little bit, but I did have a conversation or an email conversation, I should say, with Sheriff Palmer about concerns that were placed about the deputies' role in overseeing the community and whether or not they're obligated to go beyond giving out speeding tickets. Sheriff Palmer got back to me and informed me that he had been made aware of the concern, which was posed here by Walter Wells, about traffic and pedestrian concerns, and had already passed along an email to all of his deputies saying, this is not the situation. If you see somebody violating a law with someone else crossing the road, especially, we as a town also want our law enforcement to protect the citizens. And so that got cleared up. And so I think that it's a step for Walter Wells's concerns, and we will continue to keep his concerns in mind as we go forward. If there's anything that we can do to take that intersection there and improve safety. The more people that come to our lovely little town and stop and get a creamy and crossing the road and this and that, the more we need to pay attention to that area's safety concerns. So we will definitely be keeping it in mind. And if we see a way forward that'll help, we will do that. I connected the library personnel with a potential snow shoveler. For the upcoming winter. They ran out of people that wanted to volunteer to shovel snow last year. They were offering some compensation to somebody if they wanted to take on the library sidewalks. And I did not volunteer the town crew to do it. And so all in all, I did have somebody pegged, and I approached them and they said they would be open to it. And I connected them with Maya. And I believe that maybe we've solved that problem for them. I haven't heard back yet, but yes, we're putting final touches on the VHI management contract. And we've already talked about the minutes. I did get a message from Deb Moore asking if since the planning board was had put a deadline on receiving letters of concern one way or another for the cell tower, the proposed cell tower. She wanted to know if the select board was also giving a deadline to accept letters from people. And so I will read to you what I had said to her. Hello, Deb, since the application has not yet been submitted, I would be okay with letters from persons that have not yet been heard and would like to express their opinion. As you know, the town does not have much more than an opinion. Individuals are asking the town to investigate and research issues and items that the state of Vermont PUC will be doing. Individuals, it is unfortunate that town folks are coming forward with misinformation, making these requests of the select board. Wildlife, wetlands, erosion, etc., historical, all sorts of things are all on the PUC plate for the state agencies to research. And this is why we pay them, and they are the experts. So all of these decisions will be in good hands. We have a few letters from you regarding your stand on the tower. They are clear, and I see no need to repeat the information. Your views are on file. We have them. When the company decides to move forward with an application, which has not taken place yet, all data collected will be reviewed, and the select board will draw their own letter to the PUC board, but not before that happens. This could be a repeat of last year with no further action taken. I hope this helps with clarity going forward, Pat. So I just wanted to let everyone know that that was my response, and that is kind of my stand on where we should be with letters. They could keep on coming in as long as they're not all from the same person every other day.
Is the thing my fault?
No, I did not, because I came here.
It
I-
just said, my specific question really was more about the petitions and about the deadline. Do you have?
You didn't mention the petition, but
I didn't
you
mention
can
that.
submit a petition. Your petition is not a binding petition. It's informational only. So you
Just
can,
what you would be accepting.
yeah, you can submit that for recording at any time.
Oh,
I think that is it for that category. Yes, that was kind of a quiet time. So now we can move on to new business, which starts out with an update by the Planning Commission.
Is Dan on Zoom?
Yes, he is.
And Dan, is it?
Tag Dan, and you're on mute.
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Dan.
Yeah, just we want to give a quick update of where we have been and where we're going with the cell tower project. The planning commission has done a very thorough review of the town plan. That's the only sort of way that we can provide comments to the Public Utilities Commission. The cell tower project is how that project conforms to our town plan. So we've done a thorough review, and we've sent the PUC, Public Utilities Commission, and Vertex and a few others some comments, preliminary comments, telling them that we do have some concerns relative to the town plan in several areas of the town plan. So that letter has gone to them, and it's during the advance notice, so there's no application yet filed by Vertex, Verizon. So there's nothing. There's no official application yet on file with the PUC. The Vertex and Verizon could file that formal application at any time. And once the PUC says that their application is complete, then we'll have 30 days to provide our official comments to the PUC. Where we are right now, after sending that letter, we are going to be reviewing all the public comments that we've received, and there's been many, just to make sure we have not missed anything, that every public concern is being addressed in our review. After we receive those and we know we've addressed all the comments, we will draft a letter if there's a 30-day comment period, if there's a file application. We'll draft a letter and we will share it with the select board and the community for feedback. And then we will revise that, and the planning commission will vote on whether to submit that letter or not. And I would ask the select board to give some guidance on how you want to manage that. Are you going to prepare your own letter after seeing our draft and reviewing our draft? And how's that going to come together? So it all hinges on whether there actually is a formal and completed application by Verizon or Vertex, whether we go further than we are now with this whole project. That's all I have, Pat.
Okay, well, that's good. That's, we're kind of at a point where we would be waiting for further action. We would be waiting for further action if we need to take further action. So I think at this point, we've got the T's crossed, the I's dotted, and the ball would be in their court at this point in time. But again, we're still open to hearing from people that we have not yet heard of. The more the merrier, the more opinions the merrier. And we have been getting more opinions from different people. So that's where we stand right now. Thank you.
Thank you.
I lost my agenda, Julie. Got numbers on this. I need the one with numbers. Am I on number 3 now?
Yes.
Okay, then I'm not lost. That's the one. Authorized to execute a notice of federal interest for the Rochester High School building to be recorded. There are 2 documents. What this is it supplements the grant. And because we're taking millions of dollars from the federal government, they need to have something recorded that if we were to go into dramatic default or anything of that sort, if we just fell into a big sinkhole in the earth or something, that, they would have right to, what would they do? Take our town. So it's kind of a collateral thing. It's a notation that they have given us a grant and we're obligated to respond in certain ways. And then once the grant is satisfied, then that recording, it would be discharged, similar to a mortgage. So that's what these 2 documents are, and we will be signing them.
And then Kristen's going to notarize it for you since I record them.
I'm gonna put this in my left hand so I can sign on my right. And where are they?
There should be orange stuff.
Yeah.
There should be 2.
You okay?
No,
You not have it?
I like using 2 hands.
I don't blame you for, why don't you just shove that in the thing and you need 2 hands. There you go. There, yeah.
There should be the orange sections.
Yeah.
And then I can hand that to Kristen.
Just the top.
This, yeah. This way the government's gonna come after me now.
And me.
Well, you're just notarizing that I'm the person signing it.
We'll visit you all in person, don't worry.
Okay. Am I dating this today?
Yes. Did you read what he said to the motion?
I'm going to
Okay.
date. Ask for date twice. There's another one. No. I move that the Rochester Select Board authorize the Select Board Chair to execute a, quote, notice of federal interest relating to the Northern Borders Regional Commission grant number GT 25 SPC 00050 for the renovation of the former Rochester High School building and to cause said notice to be duly recorded in the town of Rochester land records.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
That can go with it. Is there something here to sign?
And this one also needs to be read.
I move that the Rochester Select Board authorize the Select Board Chair to execute a notice of federal interest relating to the Northern Borders Regional Commission grant number GT 25 SPC -00050 for the renovation of the former Rochester High School building and to cause said notice to be duly recorded in the town of Rochester land records.
One of them should be, what's the date on the phone?
August 25th, today, 11 a.m.
One of them should be through the USDA. Gonna say the same thing, but if you could just say through motion for the US, yeah, change out the notice of the um, Northern Borders to US.
Is this one Northern Borders too?
There.
So one should be Northern Borders and the other one should be the USDA. They're both requiring the same notice.
Let's see if it shows up somewhere else. I'm finding it. I'm the notary.
Can you read the same USDA statement?
Yes, and I've got the-
Borders,
Mm.
or vice versa.
These grants will remain in effect for 20 years from date of purchase. Okay, well, I will read the same thing and I will insert this information here. What do you need? Here we go again, guys.
Okay.
I move that the Rochester Select Board authorize the Select Board Chair to execute notice of federal interest relating to USDA grant ID number 53014385160352. Date of grant agreement, June 18th, 2025, amount $2,329,000. For the renovation of the former high school building and to cause said notice to be duly recorded in the town of Rochester land records.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
There, got it covered?
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's all of that. Number 4, Vermont River Conservatory. Discussion on mowing easement from ball field to former high school walking path. Amanda Garland,
Yeah, that's me.
it is you. Would you like to have the microphone?
I think I can speak pretty loudly and pretty clearly without it, if everyone's okay with that. Amanda Garland, Vermont River Conservancy. It's our mission to protect and restore rivers for people and wildlife. And how we do that is generally we put conservation easements on land. Usually these lands are places that people use to access the rivers for angling, for paddling, for swimming. And then our other arm is protecting floodplains for flood resiliency and for wildlife. And so, as you may know, we have a property that's protected right here in Rochester, as you said, between the ball fields and the school there. And it was protected by John Farrell-Hill, who saw that really beautiful place and wanted to keep that open for the town for forever. And of course, saw the flood resiliency benefits as we see the river moving into that field and flooding and slowing the waters and dropping out sediment, all of the benefits of our floodplains. And so we were grateful to work with the Threlkill family. As you all know, there's a path too. It was John's kind of one of his missions and one of his passions was to give the community access to that land through a path most people access from the ball fields. And so working with the newest generation of Threlkills, Brett here, we have extended the benefits of that land by moving that trail as the part of the easement means that 50 feet from the top of the bank of the river inward and landward needs to be protected in the way that we don't manage the vegetation unless it's for certain ecological benefits. So it's to make sure that there's a strong riparian buffer zone, again, for wildlife, for flood resiliency benefits, for all kinds of reasons. But because that trail got moved, it's now become a little bit harder to manage. And so although the land is protected and so it will never be developed, public access to that space isn't a protected right within this specific conservation easement. And so what I'm suggesting, if the town values that land for public access, that we kind of open up this partnership in that we need your help in the mowing of that path. And so the path, how many people are aware of the path that I'm talking about? Awesome, great. So mostly I see a lot of dog walkers. I see, I wonder if folks come from the school from the other end and access that for to get close to the river. And so I did speak to the folks who are mowing the ball field currently, and they told me that it wouldn't be a problem to extend their contract to include that if the town was, of course, amenable to that and to paying for that. So so that's our request and that's our hope. I have some stickers here. If you go to our website, you can find all of our conserved parcels, and so you can go to access your river and smell the important work we're doing. I'll leave this pile kind of up here if you want to grab it. Are there any questions before these guys discuss? Yeah.
So are you saying that a new trail would be made 50 feet back from the a bank? Is that the plan? And
It's already been made.
Uh-huh.
Yep. And I went out there and I marked it well with the landowner. So there's these blue stakes that are there. So and I can work with the person, the company who will be mowing if they need some clearer directions, and the landowner is always there. So
I used to mow it until my lawnmower broke down all the way in the far corner. I had to push it a quarter of the way and I couldn't push it anymore, so I had to get my wife in the car to tow me out of there. My ride around is just not made for that kind of mowing, so I'm not able to mow it anymore, but I'm more than happy to see people out there walking,
Well, thank you very much for all of your efforts related to your generosity. It's great. So with my recollection is, I could be wrong, the ground is much rougher in the old pasture land or whatever it is than it was on the trail, which had been used a million times. Would that be true? Would it just be mowed, or would?
yeah, I think what I'm hoping is the continuity of the mowing from the ball field will just be kind of sinuous, and that there will be kind of that land, the land management change, and that the riparian buffer is that, wild vegetated state, then this kind of lower mowing, and then the farmer will still be, mowing that greater area. So it is kind of a challenge, but again, if it's just on that same rotation, I think it will be kind of a seamless mow. As for topography, it's still pretty level and beautiful.
Thank you.
I would like to just make a comment. Thank you, Brett. Thank you, John, but thank you. The biggest thank you goes to Bill.
yeah.
He was a very good friend of this community, and he is the one that originally opened up the land to be used. Does the mowing need to be done, in your opinion, from the high school side or the ball field side?
It seems like from the ball field side would be best, but that's
I used to do it from the ball field all the way around to where the drainage ditch was. Then I had to turn all the way around and I would do the other side, just along the trail where most people walk. The heaviest mowing is gonna be that trail along the back up to that drainage ditch. So, yeah.
Are we still using that trail for our 4th of July walkathon and,
I
They
think
Oh, their
that's on
fire
Enjoy
day that they
Trail.
do.
go behind.
okay, we used to use that. That was part of the trail system for that run. And I know the town was using it for that one day, that one morning. I don't know, guys, what do you think? I know that we just received a request for extra mowing, at the pump track. So, if we could skirt this year and make the decision going into next year with the contracts that we would have in place. Sometimes they have 3-year contracts, so I'm not sure where we stand with mowing contracts. So we're coming into settling a new budget, so rather than take this year's budget and just, rattle the cages, perhaps we can work on next year's budget and include it, and that way it'll just be a smooth transition. And then we could sit down and have a conversation on 2 different areas that are looking to get mowed. It's a growing town. Is that possible?
Yeah, when would be the best timing for that?
Well, we start our budget meetings in early October. And we go all the way through the end of January. So if you can either send a message, you're so noted on this already. So I'm sure that we, the select board, can bring it into the budget meeting because we're part of the budget committee. So instead of being an immediate concern, we can work our way into it, and we'd be more than happy to. Any other discussion?
Can I ask a question, Pat?
You sure can.
Is it likely that down closer to the river, there's a need for a bush hog to do it rather than a regular mower?
Yeah, great question. Actually, it's written into the deed restrictions that we are, to not mow in that area. So 50 feet from, the river, we actually want it to be really wild and, full of native vegetation. And Brett has been doing a great job at kind of, managing that trail to this point. And so, that's a great question. Maybe if we wait long enough, we might need the brush hog, but I know there's a farmer also mowing it in the interim, so I think we can probably work it out where it would just be a mower.
Okay, okay. So noted, it's on the record.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for coming. Number 5, approved July. Number 5, approved the July treasurer's report. July being the first month of the fiscal year for us, it doesn't have a lot of meat, but it still has plenty of pages. I reviewed it, and yes, we've got 1/12 of the budget under our belt, and some expenses get paid right away up front. So the numbers don't really talk to us too much, but they are there, they look good. I move that we accept this report.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I signed it. You signed it? You have it? The next thing on our agenda is actually going to be moved forward. Correct? The town treasurer asking the select board to invoke. Okay, so it's stated as town treasurer asking the select board to invoke Two Rivers Ottaquechee Regional Planning Commission as a sole source vendor for the repurposing of the high school project. We're not quite ready to act on that, so we're going to be tabling that one this particular time, moving it into the future. We will probably talk about it next time around, so stay tuned. And then we're moving into discussion about catering on town property. Asha here? On Zoom?
No,
Is
I
there
thought she was sending,
Sarah Marta or anything?
Nope. She did say Sarah, that she was sending Sarah in her place, I believe, but she is not on Zoom.
Going once. Going twice. Moving on. we will be happy to have a discussion about catering on the town property when we have more details about what they're looking for. Guess what, folks? It's going to be Household Hazardous Waste Day. It's coming back again this year. It is scheduled for Saturday, September 6th, which is coming right up. The Saturday after Labor Day weekend. It goes from 9 to 1 o'clock. And this one this will be posted around town as well. It has a limit of 10 gallons or 10 pounds per family. Are all of these towns coming to Rochester for this? Or are they having their own in their own town? It says it serves Barnard and Bethel and Granville and Hancock, Rochester, Royalton,
I think
Stockton.
they're all to come here, yeah.
They're all coming here.
There's two events.
Wow,
They have
sounds
two
like a party.
events, so there's one in another town
Okay.
in the spring.
There is quite a list of things, liquids that you have laying around the house, photochemicals, pool chemicals, roach traps, weed killer. So anything that says don't eat this can be brought in for household hazardous waste day. Is this the one where we have to have the constable there? Yeah.
Might be a good idea.
Yeah, I think so, so you don't throw hazardous waste at each other if you get mad. And so I believe that we will have somebody there monitoring the hazardous waste. So anyway, look around your garages, underneath the sink and things that have been there a long time and you just think maybe it's a good time to get rid of them. Bring them on in on Saturday, September 6th from 9 AM to 1 PM. That's your public service announcement for this week. Number 9 is,
Excuse me, they don't have battery collection on that, old batteries on that?
I think that's different. That's a different day. Let's see what it says.
Not listed.
No asbestos, explosives, shock sensitive materials, ammunition, radioactive waste, pathological waste, infectious waste, medicines, toxins, and propane tanks.
Well, what else is left?
I don't see batteries addressed on this at all.
Okay.
When you buy a battery, there's usually a core charge that they charge you, and when you bring
Yeah,
back
I'm
the
not
old
necessarily
battery.
the big batteries for cars and stuff, but you know, like lantern
Oh.
batteries and all that kind of stuff.
I don't see that. If you see that on there, I don't believe it's on
I
there.
don't think it's on there. It's not under that.
So then I'm assuming that probably won't take them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You might have to take them back home.
I think, Bonnie takes those, if they come in a bag, she'll take them.
She does.
So the regular recycling will take them. Any Saturday you go.
Okay. Thanks, man.
Probably an acid restriction or something.
Well, because maybe it's lumped in with regular recycling. They don't need to take them because you can do it in your regular recycling. Review a selection of a fuel provider. Since the town took on the high school building and it is heated with oil. And we have several other buildings around town, a few others that take oil, including the library. I kind of took it upon myself to put this out to bids, to go one step further than just doing a pre-buy, which is what the town was normally doing along the years. But with this increase in the amount of gallons of oil we're going to be using because of the high school, I contacted 3 fuel providers and asked them for a locked-in rate, which is considerably cheaper. You know, if you all wanted to use tens of thousands of gallons of oil, you could do this too. And I did get prices back from Dead River, Champlain Valley Fuels, and CB Oil. The Dead River was the highest. I can give you those numbers if I find that paperwork. And, CB Oil and Champlain Valley Fuels came in about the same price. So we have decided that we're going to go with CB Oil. They are local, they provide very good service. Champlain Valley Fuels is over in Middlebury, and I'm not even sure they do provide service. They're basically fuel providers. They do have a plumbing business, but, we all know that service from CB Oil is top notch. So, they gave a very good price, and I am ready to sign a contract with them for an estimated 635 gallons for the Rochester Town Office, an estimated 20 to 30,000 gallons for the Rochester High School, and an estimated 780 gallons for the Rochester Library. Those are locked in rates, and they're locked in at $2.99. Oh, no, less than that. It was $2.64 a gallon
That's for the high school.
for the high school, yes. So, all three of these are great bargains. The library had already contracted to do a pre-buy, but we ended up knocking another 30 cents per gallon off of that price, so they're grateful as well. And here we go. Dead River came in at $2.86 a gallon. Champlain was $2.65 a gallon, and CBO was also $2.65 a gallon. So, I'm gonna go ahead and sign this. And that way we've saved, from my estimate, of course, you never know how cold the winter's gonna be. But from my estimate, we saved about $7,000 to $9,000 on fuel with taking this, so it was worth it.
Question on the high school.
Pat,
Yeah,
I haven't kept up with the topic, so apologize for my ignorance. Is the high school will be in use this winter, or is it gonna be?
it's going to be in
renovated?
use, it's going to be in use within the next week.
Oh.
The school, when school starts, the kids are going to be using the high school.
Oh,
We're
okay.
supposed to talk to that. The school is leasing back the auditorium wing and using the art room, the music room, and the auditorium. And I think they're estimated to be using it the equivalent of 2 days a week. So that students can go over there and learn music and art and learn how to be up on stage without stage fright. They are paying tenants, and they're sort of at this time the anchor tenant for the buildings. So they're gonna be in there first. That's what Vic just said anyway. And I believe that physical therapy would be moving there soon. And childcare room center is moving in there, and Andrew First, who is doing the educational program, will be moving in there very soon as well. So there'll be activity there.
30,000 gallons of fuels, that's the place, the whole place is gonna be warm all winter, it's not.
It
just-
has to be,
Yeah.
yes, yes. We've never let it go without heat.
Right, no, I know the pipes can't freeze, but I mean, that's like. Using, people using it full-time temps, not just keeping it from freezing temps.
Well, that's why it's estimated with a 10,000 gallon range.
Right.
We could also have a warm winter. Last winter was a cold winter, so we're just basing it on, I think, the average of the last 3 years, and then we're putting a range in.
Thank you.
Oh, we can return these to Charlie. And there's my backup with it as well. You can have that. And I think it's your version of it. I had a version of it. I think that brings us down to public comment. Rob Gardner wants the floor.
I have two things.
Do you want a microphone?
Do I need?
We just need a microphone.
So I have two thoughts. One has to do with the sheriff and the crossing issues here in town.
Go
We used
ahead.
to have radar signs on either ends of town, and they both died. They never got fixed. Those things really work. Does the town have an interest in bringing something like that back.
But yeah, those are speed monitoring signs. Somebody has to do a little bit of babysitting for them. And if you wanted any data off of them, you have to learn how to download the data. At that time, we had, I think Mark Belisle was our constable, and he just didn't have the time to monitor them, and they just kind of died. I don't know that the sheriffs can provide that and come and monitor that. The concern that was brought by Walter Wells in our last meeting was more of that intersection by the Skip Mart, having dual stop signs and people trying to cross while people are turning in. And if you've ever turned out of Bethel Mountain Road, there's a parking spot right there at the beginning that does hinder your view. That all said, we took the first step by making sure the sheriff was watching pedestrians because Walt was under the impression that.
Compliance with the stop signs.
And compliant, yeah, and so, we're working towards what we could possibly do there. There was a design many years ago that dramatically changed that, and did options for one-ways and, put in islands in the stream all over the place there, so that there was just one entrance and one exit for the gas station, so you just can't pull in and park on the sidewalk to run into the Skid Mark, which I do too. That said, it's a much larger problem, to reconfigure that, and much more expensive than you would think. There'll be people that will think it's a great idea and then not like it when they're driving through it. But for right now, our project is getting the sidewalks from the parsonage, from School Street up to Brook Street, getting that sidewalk section done. We have a 100% grant to improve those sidewalks under a program called Safe Routes to School grant, and it's through V-Trans. There at that intersection where children would go across to the Huntington House and then walk to school that way, there's gonna be a flashing light when there's a pedestrian. It's gonna be a very bright flashing LED light. They're also thinking of putting another one where they cross Route 100 to go to that sidewalk. So the next step that we're gonna take is possibly put in a pedestrian walk, markings there, and having another one of those flashing lights to alert people that someone is trying to cross the road there. Like I said, there's a lot of people in the summertime come and visit our lovely park. And we probably do need to keep them safe because creamies are right across the street. Who can resist that? So,
Well, that sounds great, and I applaud you for doing that. My thinking is just, as you know, I live on 100,
I
and
do.
so I'm really intimately familiar with people blowing through their paths. When I was in this, part of the emergency team here, I contacted the state about those radar signs.
Mhm.
And and there were people who I was trying to get a grant, or how would you do that? And as soon as they found out I wasn't with law enforcement or the select board, they stopped answering my emails. So, I think those things really work. You see them in other towns all the time. I know they would. And I'd be happy to look into it if you want, but not if you don't want. So I'll throw that out. So, my second question is about the high school, project. And that I would ask that any management agreements or contracts or anything that involves money with this project, be absolutely transparent and, made available prior to signing. So if you're gonna have a management agreement, it's made public prior to signing. So if anybody has a problem with it, they can tell you that. Since the town never voted on that project, I think transparency is really important. What that means legally, I have no idea. I'm just really talking about kind of public awareness.
No, we can post it.
So,
I've kind of been the point person on the board for that. And it is our intention to make that document public. It's not final, it's still in the hands of attorneys. But yeah, I mean, we agree that transparency is something that we want to see done.
That's
So,
great, and
yeah.
but people would have to know that you were doing that, people have to have a period of time when they could look at it, find it, look, all that has to do outreach and public information, so if you're
Sure.
thinking about that, that's.
I read it over the weekend, and it's juicy.
It's at least
I mean,
documented.
the only other thing I'll add is just that, as far as any, financial, aspects of the project, all it really says is any money that the town puts towards, the operation of the hub project is gonna be appropriated like any other town, expenditure, at town meeting in March.
Well, that's great. As you guys already know, I don't need to tell you, my concern about that project is always about risk. And I think we're talking about taxpayer risk. And so I would just ask that anything that in any way could fall into that arena should really be made public with enough time for discussion. That's all.
Fair point.
Sure, why not? Nobody else is going.
You guys are about the high school.
Yeah, just on the subject of the high school, we've kind of all talked about it a little bit here, there, and everywhere. And it just, as far as the project goes, this just seems to be the way to move forward without the town being exposed to more liability and risk. From what we have discussed, with the exception of a couple of areas. So just wanted to point that out. We're not just blindly going at it.
Are you talking about the management agreement?
Just the project in general, just because that you just brought that up.
Yeah.
And you know, if we don't move forward with something, we're never gonna move forward with anything. Is, I guess, what I'm looking at. So we need to just, I guess, own it. And just move forward with it. And on another subject, actually, just, the cucumber umbrella that showed up on the corner of the park today, just as a side note. So since we're in the public comment, I did leave a copy of the park ordinances there, with a note just asking that would be removed and not show up again, without coming through the channels. Just because if we let it happen once, the next thing you know, we're gonna have a food truck parked in the middle of the park. So anybody wanting to set something up on the park, really needs to come through the town office, fill out the paperwork, and get that approved.
Does
just-
anybody know who it is? Anybody aware of who is running the cucumber stand on the park? This is a big Vermont problem we've got here.
Wasn't gonna dig too deep, just asking that not happen again. We're, you know, just trying to just put the word out there so it doesn't continue to happen with other things being set
And the
up.
reason we monitor it is because it actually is in a very bad spot. Right there at that terrible intersection. So if we were ever to approve such a thing, we probably would not approve it in that corner where it currently is. So, you know, there's reasons why you have to come and ask if you can use our park. You don't want to use the park while someone else has got permission to use the park. So there's a lot of different reasons why. The cucumbers are probably great. And, you know, it's been a big year for cucumbers. I understand an abundance of them, but you can't just set up a stand and sell them on the park without us approving it. Anybody else? Anybody want a microphone?
There's a microphone under there.
Hi, I wanted to comment. Thank you. Thank you, Pat. Karen Murray, 64 State Garage Road, and I'm here about the cell phone tower, like no surprise. I and my whole family, my husband, I'm extremely upset about this. I know I've talked about other meetings, but I just wanted to speak again about some issues that I think are more current. I've been knocking on doors, I've been talking to people, I've gone to almost every farmer's market, concert, event that I can to get the word out, and I'm truly telling you the truth. People do not know about this proposal, most people. Just today, many people told me they had no idea. Or quote, they heard about it, but they thought it was somewhere way far away from the town, that it wasn't here. So I've been trying to get the word out because I believe people should know and then be informed at least. And I can also tell you that most people are against it after they find out. There's a very few people, sure, there've been people said I want the cell phone tower, but it is small. We have collected tons of petitions, which are still coming. There's many people who want to sign her away, or I couldn't get to their door, or we missed whatever. And I am here just to say that a couple of things. I was extremely upset with some people on our boards, in my opinion, repeating information as fact, such as that there was only 4 places that it was visible. That was a Vertex claim, and there's many examples which I don't need to go into. It feels like it takes us to have to point out, hey, that's a Vertex claim, that's not a fact. And it, in effect, is actually not true. I hope you got, my husband, Russ Jacobs, who's actually filming the US Open now, so the reason he's not here, has been filming for over 30 years, and he went out with the camera in November. We had no idea that we had to disprove Vertex at the time, that it was only visible in 4 places or whatever. But it was visible in 7 places from the pictures we happened to snap. I went today and compared the scenescape, the ridge line and specific trees there with the old pictures with the balloon from November. And I want you to know that while I have no fact, because there's no balloon there, I can clearly see that it's visible most places, starting at Beans Bridge, before Beans Bridge going south. It's only blocked by a particular curve or by specific trees, or when you get toward town, of course, there's some village houses that block it. You can see it at the tennis courts, at the school, at the ball field, at Pierce Hall, the library from the center of town. And there's 2 specific trees on the park, on the south end of the park, that block it in one spot. And it's visible all again until you get so close, you're basically being blocked by the fact that you have a ridge line that's right there. That's why you're so close. And we bought the house there. I love Rochester. I don't feel as though I should have to keep proving that this is in violation of the town plan. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not the townspeople. I'm not trying to be a know-it-all. But I think the people who wrote that had a reason to write a town plan to protect us all. And clearly it says scenic byway. I don't want to hear anymore that that's not a scenic highway, or it's different than this or that. It is a scenic byway. And it's specifically mentioned in our town plan, and that's there for a reason. And this is one, and I don't feel like we should keep talking about what the interpretation means. You know, if it is one, then it should be precluded. And so I would ask you all to look at that, in the fact that it goes through a wetland. I don't care if it's a small wetland. We don't need to ask the state their opinion. It's clear. It violates our town plan. Just say so. There's towns all over Tinmouth. I just talked to Warren today, and to Manchester. Those people, the town did not support it because it violated their town plan in smaller ways than ours does. And it's very important because the PUC usually lets these things through unless the town speaks up for their town plan. And we have one for a reason. And this village is very special, and there's no reason to have a tower dot our landscape forever. It's not fair to the people who live there, to the neighbors who used to own the property, the people who are gonna stare at this tower. It's completely unacceptable. And I think that as our leaders, I would ask you guys to stand by the plan, because there's no reason to keep looking elsewhere for other answers. It's pretty simple, and I think that it doesn't take a lot of interpretation to see that this is in violation. And we're gonna continue to collect petitions. We're gonna continue to send in pictures. And if I don't know what we need to do to show people that most people are opposed to this. I mean, everybody is not willing to stop showing us that this is not okay with us. And I say us meaning a lot of people. I'm not speaking for them, but it's not okay with me.
And so I'm just asking you guys to look at the facts and please, please deny this tower. I know you can't make the final decision, but you can do your job. You don't need to look ahead and say, oh, the state might allow it, the PUC might allow it. That's not your problem. Right now, our town needs to come out in favor of our town plan, and that's it. So I really appreciate everything you've done. I know it's a huge amount of work, and I can't imagine being in your seats. I'm not trying to be rude. I'm just imploring you to please keep it where it is, and I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Sure she identifies herself.
Okay, I'm compassionate, and I know there was a tower going up, but didn't know until today exactly where. And of course, I can step back 18 years ago, when we first moved here. The church steeple was going in. It had a child that was very, very sensitive and could have seizures from it. And it is on town records going back then. And, but that's far enough away, but I'm just concerned, who brought the project in? Did the town bring the project in or some other entity? That's really what I'd like to know, because, I mean, everything has had a dollar sign. Okay, everything's a dollar sign. And there are other ways, new ways to get Verizon and other things. Fiber optic is the way to go. Our son is a top guy with fiber optic. I would have called him today, but he was flying to Utah to do a big job for Amtrak. Okay, for the trains of no drops. He's doing that from Massachusetts to Washington DC. It drives him crazy when he comes up here, because it's going in and out of services. But there are new ways. His company, I think it's from Germany, everything's on a telephone pole. It's on a telephone pole. No looking at a tower, and you all have telephone poles. So if whoever has the gumption to look into the new ways instead of the towers, because eventually they will be out. So I don't know if our town has enough to look at that. I mean, we had a guest this summer that was going over to the spring, going over to Middlebury. And they've always done this, a kid was in Middlebury College, and they stopped and stayed with us, and then used the charging station for their car. They went to do that and have dinner at Maple Salt. They came back and they said they couldn't charge their car because the person had changed their from AT&T to Verizon. I was telling my son about that. He said, that is such an easy fix. So we have to get smarter than the people trying to put things down our neck or whatever, but let's get smart. There's other ways to do this. And I know everything is a dollar sign. Yeah, that's what everything comes down to. So it's hard. I realize it's hard, but if we get smart. But you want to say something?
When he worked,
Identify yourself, please.
oh, I'm Rich Matisse and Pumpkin Patch.
The other pumpkin.
Well,
People.
it's for the record.
We, he works in Newark, New York, and I know this city, but I don't know which one that was. But in the cities, the buildings are so tall and so big that everybody loses their service. So they put one on every corner or every second or third pole, right? And now you can go around buildings and everything and never lose your service. So, he was thinking about, like Debbie said, Route 100 going all the way to Canton. All right, you'd never lose service. The EMTs be fine with that, and never lose service.
Okay, 911.
And 911, if they have an accident, they can do a 911 real easy. Well, the problem, Because I just thought that bring that up. And
Thank you. So it's good to have different perspectives. Ben?
Well, were you guys able to answer her on the question?
We're listening. I don't know what the answer would be.
No, was I think she had, so what was your name?
Oh, she wanted to know who
Yeah,
instigated
how
this.
the
It was
project-
not the town, and the town is not looking at any dollars.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna say
but
the
it-
town, but the people that wanna put it up.
Okay, several years ago, there was a Vermont state law passed that promised to bring broadband and communications to everybody in the state of Vermont, no matter where you live. They also, in that same law, addressed competition, so that we weren't just serving a monopoly like we are AT&T right now. So that law is kind of triggering a company to come in, and they have lined the better part of I-91 and I-89 with cell service, so that the traveling public would, it comes in and out in a few places, but generally there's good cell service up and down the interstates. They're now coming down to the state highways, the Route 100, the Route 7, the Route 2. Those are three of the larger state highways that they're concentrating on providing cell service border to border for. And this company is representing Verizon to bring that service in. AT&T has chosen obviously not to give that type of coverage to roads, but Verizon has. So it's just something that has been traveling up and down the highways, the byways, and will eventually supposedly be covering the better part of the state. If something new is invented, at one time there were little antennas on the telephone poles that would provide Verizon service. I believe that was brought to us by the owner of the Bose company. And he was covering a good part of the Northeast. And then he passed away and the whole program kind of fell apart. So we still have these little antennas with teepees on top of them here and there, but they don't function anymore. So, you know, perhaps if that had taken off, no one would even think about doing a cell tower, but we have a lot of dead spots that they're trying to fill. And we have one in Granville, we have one in Stockbridge, so they're just looking to bridge the gap between the two. We did not ask that, you know, all of a sudden we were notified that somebody was looking into putting a cell tower on the Martin property just south of town.
So you have to do that then, or not? What's the option?
We don't have to do anything. It's the state of Vermont that's deciding whether this happens or not. So we're not a deciding factor, we are an opinion. And as a town, we have a strong opinion. And then the state analyzes our opinion, they analyze our town plan, they analyze the wildlife, they analyze the wetlands, they analyze the erosion, they analyze historical value. There's a long list of things that the state of Vermont will be analyzing, whether or not this particular spot is suitable or not. Doesn't mean that they won't support a cell tower somewhere around here. They may reject that particular spot,
Right.
but they may not reject another spot across the street. That we don't know. So it's, you know, it's being proposed and it's our turn to deal with
So
whether
it-
we want it or not. And they will take our opinion into account.
That's good to hear. And if my son wanted to talk to the state, then he would go to the state, not to here.
Yeah, typically it would be the PUC, the Public Utilities Commission. And you can find them online, you do some digging but you can find them online and you can, at this point in time, you can submit an opinion related to this particular tower proposal,
Right.
which has been done, correct? You've been up on the website, submitted opinions to the PUC?
Me first, not yet.
Okay,
I didn't mean to interrupt you. I just have a hand up online whenever you're ready.
Mary,
Mary Frattini, I'm on the Rochester Planning.
yeah, correct me if I'm wrong on something, please.
Say that.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
No, if you go to epuc.vermont.gov, and then you can search advance notice filings by town, it will bring up the advance notice filing for Rochester. You'll open it up, and there's a place there where you can submit public comments. It can be a little bit tweaky, in which case you send an email to the clerk of the commission, Holly Anderson, she'll help you with that. But if you just send your son to epuc.vermont.gov and tell him to search advance notice filings by town, he'll get to it.
Oh, wait, Mary.
I will answer if the chair tells me to.
You have something to say?
Yeah, I'm just.
You need to identify yourself and take the microphone.
Rochester, I'm just confused about, I mean, you said advance notice, but the advance notice has passed,
But it's still there.
Of this morning.
but it's about.
Do you want me to answer that question?
Yes, it kind of has, but it's not gone.
No, okay. So my understanding, as of 9 o'clock this morning, is that they have not filed a formal petition, which means they are still in the advance notice phase. The advance notice phase works like this. They have to submit a 60-day advance notice of their intent to apply. So they cannot file the formal petition in fewer than 60 days. Anytime after that 60 days has passed, they may file the formal petition. There is a deadline on that. I don't want to say 5 or 6 months. They don't have to file the formal petition. They have to wait at least 60 days. Those 60 days have passed, so they may file at any time. If they file or until they file, we're still in the advance notice phase. Once they file and it's been declared administratively complete, they will open a new docket. They'll have a new suffix. It'll be PET instead of AN. And that will begin the quasi judicial procedure. So until they file and until the PUC declares their petition administratively complete, we remain in the advance notice phase. Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Thank you.
I have a hand online.
I'd like to hear from Alvina.
Alvina Harvey, Rochester. I had a friend trying to use the, I had a friend trying to use the e-chargers down below, and they could not get them to work. And it was quite involved. And I had to end up calling them on my cell phone because I had service down there. So is there any way, I don't know if the select board has anything to do with, you know, the charging center, or who we can contact about getting that corrected so that when people come to charge up their vehicles, they would be able to.
There's a note down there. You want to be our runner? The EV charging station is owned by Green Mountain Power. Okay, and they're contracted with a company named Flow. And the way that your credit card works to turn on the EV charger is by using a Verizon signal. So what you would need to do is run up to the library and pick up a Wi-Fi signal and go up onto the Flow app. Register your credit card for how much you want a charge for, and then run back down and plug it in. That's how it's working at this point in time, because there is no Verizon service, so people's Verizon phones are not talking to the Verizon EV charging station.
And I think there's a note down there, isn't there? That
Yeah, I think we've tried to explain that to people. And
Why isn't there just a Wi-Fi hotspot there?
I don't know, it belongs to Green Mountain Power, it is not ours, it's not ours.
Seems like such an easy fix.
Right.
They have them all over Waitsfield. There's just Wi-Fi from the town.
Yeah.
We have a hotspot here in this office, but obviously it doesn't seem to reach just over there.
Right.
So-
I mean, it's just like Cat5 cable's almost free. It's run it up, right?
Yeah.
Not that it's on the town, but just so easy. So.
Ben, did you want to say
Yeah,
something?
yeah, totally.
No, sorry, go ahead then.
Okay. I just,
I'll come back to you.
it may just be language, but it's not true that, Pat, you had said, that we're not a deciding factor.
We're not.
My understanding is we're most certainly a deciding factor when a town, the state must give, it's a law, they have to give substantial deference is the wording to the town. So we are most certainly a factor. We're not the ultimate.
Say we're not a
arbiter.
factor. We've got a very
Right,
strong
no, but
opinion.
you said we're not a deciding factor,
We've got a very strong opinion.
right? We're a major factor. So we're the biggest factor besides for the PUC. So we're actually, we're major, we're the biggest one, besides what their own internal decision making. So,
In our own
but-
town, yes.
yeah, so when towns do say this violates our plan, then the PUC has often said, okay, we don't want to run roughshod over town plans. Because the town planning process is really important, even from the state perspective, the regional commissions and all that help towns come up with it. So they don't want to undermine town plans. So we are most certainly a deciding factor. And it seems that the planning commission is also a little has been slow to understand this. We've been talking to them for over a year, saying you need to kind of give an opinion. You need to tell the PUC and you need to tell the company that's prospecting us that this violates our plan, because it very obviously does. And I think one of the frustrations that Tara was getting at is they're a little slow on the draw to understanding that. And I don't say that in a rude way. They're working very hard. You guys are working very hard, but they instead are spending a lot of time and effort trying to understand the details of the state processes, like the Route 100 corridor management plan. Our town has no need to understand the Route 100 corridor management plan. That's someone's job at the state, or like 5 people's job. It's no one's job at our town level. We just know we have a town plan that is a whole section that is about siting telecom facilities. And we went through all of that work to properly site telecom facilities. And it has all of these bullet points and it violates a whole bunch of them. So I think some of the frustration of people who are involved with this is like the town's trying to do the job of the state and understanding kind of what the state might do, whatever. All that is just, they don't have to do that work, and it's a lot of work, and they're not qualified to do that work, and it's just extra. But as town boards, it's incumbent upon you guys, the select board and the planning commission, to represent the towns. Our agreement together is the town plan. And, I'll just be really clear, if the planning commission and select board won't represent the citizens, then we have to. And that would be a legal process. We would involve media, because we don't want a precedent to be set. I mean, the precedent's already set and it's really bad. People like Carrie Dolan and some other representatives are working on this to try to get more town power over this, because it's such a state top-down thing. In New Hampshire and other places, there's much more local control in this. So this is like a bigger issue than just this tower. I don't have any skin in the game. Like, I won't see the tower on the other side of a knoll where I live. But the problem is that this tower goes up and does so at a poor process, which is the process that's happening so far. It just paves the way for more roads to be built to ridge tops, which none of us need in a place that floods badly. We all know steep roads are conveyances. They all enhance flooding. They all contribute to flooding. There's a lot of questions about how much, but they all do. And our town plan is very clear on that too. And it says there's many places in the town plan that says that flood resilience is very important. There's no place in there that says, if we get tourists more reception, we sacrifice some flood resilience, it's worth it. Like, there's nothing in that. So the spirit of the town plan also is like super ultra clear, like flood resilience is in there. Increased reception isn't in there in its directable way. So we just want to make sure the record shows that what the town plan shows, and that we are a deciding factor. And yeah, I think we might end there, but there's been a lot of challenges so far with the planning commission. Both, I think, understanding our roles. The petition here has like, oh, this is the town plan, but the petition references this for everyone's understanding where the town plan is violated. And there's a lot more than that, because the spirit of the town plan, as I said, is violated across the board. For example, 25% grade for citing new energy infrastructure is in the town plan, and the zoning ordinance says similar. That's smart. You don't want to put big roads up even 25% grade, definitely not above. This road is just as big as a road that would go to energy infrastructure. That's why I wrote a front porch forum message weeks ago talking about how many dump truck loads. Someone said, why does it matter how many dump truck loads go there? Well, it matters because it's the scale of the road you need to make to move that much material. 1,000 vertical feet up into the wilds of Emerson, and extend the grid a mile into the wildlands there. And so the spirit right there is an example of like the spirit of the town plan talks about energy infrastructure. It would apply to this as well, because it's that level of road. Yeah, so it's really clear, and we need you guys to stand by the town plan. We hope the planning commission will as well, but they've been very slow too, so thank you.
The planning board has been doing due diligence, and I can say that they are 90% there. So I would not allow to say that the planning board is not doing their job. They've been working very hard at this.
I know they've been
And
working
they've
very,
been-
very hard,
They,
yeah.
they've been doing due diligence. They're going to be doing the right things. So if you're taking it into account that you have an uphill battle on that, perhaps you don't. It's just not the time to reveal any of that yet.
Other towns do though, they just say, hey, this violates our plan, change it, and that's all. That's
Coming down the line,
okay,
perhaps that is.
okay,
You're making an assumption
yeah, but
that may not be true, so I really don't want to spread
I
that
hope
seed
you're
around.
right, but we've
That
been working on this. for
everybody on
years.
all the boards of this town is taking this extremely seriously,
Yeah,
as
No,
much
I
as
know
you
that.
are. So I know I am, and you don't think that I'm not reading all these messages, all these letters. Please forgive me if you think that I'm not, because I
Oh,
am
no.
putting lots of effort into this.
We appreciate that. Thank you.
Well, thank you, and I appreciate hearing your point of view again, and I appreciate hearing new points of view. So we're here for you. Don't assume that we're automatically against you, please. Thank you. Anybody else?
I have one on Zoom.
Alvina wasn't, oh yeah, let's do the Zoom.
Our Zoom just put her, oh, she's back. Oh, she's gone. Lori, now is your time if you want to.
Hello, everyone. I'm Lori Church. I just wanted to kind of emphasize from a Vermont statute point of view on what a few people have said and some recommendations. Something that Pat referenced a while ago about a Vermont law. It's not really a Vermont law. The quote is from Vermont Statute 202 CB3. Therefore, to direct the benefits of improved telecommunications technology to all Vermonters, it is the purpose of this section in Section 202D of this title to support the availability of modern mobile wireless telecommunication services along the state's travel corridors and in the state's communities. Okay, that's a nerdy way of saying wireless technology is what everybody wants. And I think that's a fairly universal concept. However, I think the town has believed that we have a binary choice. Support the cell tower proposed or decline it. And that's not quite the case because there is an alternative. Vermont has a 10-year telecommunications plan that was just published June of last year. And in that, on section 12.3, it says, furthermore, this plan demonstrates that to close mobile wireless gaps using 50-foot wireless facilities would be significantly more efficient from a cost perspective than 140-foot towers and nearly as efficient in terms of the number of deployments needed. That is the alternative that actually exists within Rochester. We have an antenna from AT&T in the steeple that supports multiple carriers, and then we have small cells. That's what these things are referring to on this Vermont 10-year town plan. They're small cells that are spaced along telephone poles. That's what provides service up and down the corridor, along 73, into the hollows, into Great Hawk. That's the alternative. We do not need a giant 140-foot erector set style cell tower that will be obsolete soon and still spewing everything and making it aesthetically unpleasing around us and being environmentally damaging. The town has a pretty good silver bullet in its arsenal if we choose to use it. That's from Vermont Statute 248AC2. Unless there's good cause to find otherwise, substantial deference has been given to the plans of the affected municipalities, that's the town plan, to the recommendations of the municipal legislative bodies, that's the select board, and the municipal planning commissions regarding the municipal plans. Our town plan removes the opinion factor. The town plan is a solid document with legal language of shall. There is a lot of shall nots and it violates the town plan. So opinion is taken out of it because the opinions have already been voiced years ago when the town plan was drafted. We just need to support the town plan by both the select board as a unifying voice, not opinions, but as a unified voice supporting the town plan that opposes a 140-foot tower and demands what Vermont statute demands of co-location or finding alternatives. I hope that the select board and the planning commission continues to look at the town plan and support the town plan.
Thank you, and I also hope that the PUC takes into account, since it is a Vermont department, that it takes into account all of the Vermont laws pertaining to it. Alvina, you were not done yet.
No, I just wanted to ask if we go to Green Mountain Power, we can ask them to change their setup down below here because there was no signage that we had to go to the library and the library isn't always open all the time.
I am told that there are some instructions there now.
That's what we were made aware of too, and you don't have to go inside the library, you can just park out front of it.
Yeah, follow up Green Mountain Power.
But yeah, I mean, you can call Green Mountain Power and address it to them.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Should have.
Anybody else want to speak for the first time?
John and Marty, 166 Maple Hill Road. First of all, I want to say that I appreciate everything that everybody's doing on the select board, the planning board, and people that don't have an official role. Everybody in this town is working for what they think is best and putting a lot of work into it. So I want to say that I appreciate everybody on every side that's doing work. What's frustrating is that I would love to hold an official capacity to help this town. And right now I've been going through a lot of medical problems and it's been frustrating for me because I feel like I've spent huge amounts of time, not in an official capacity, but volunteering for what I think is good for the townspeople and talking to people. And what I found out, I have to be honest with you, is kind of disturbing. I have found out that this is industry driven. This is driven by a company called Vertex that makes money when they put up a tower. If they co-locate a cell service, they make no money. They want to put up towers. Number one. Number two, I spoke to a number of people at the farmers market that got letters from Vertex along the ridges of 100 here, telling them they would be mightily compensated with large amounts of money if they could put a tower on their land, and they refused it. Well, we had one person who did not refuse it. What I've also found out is the people who didn't refuse it and wanted on their land, and I'm sorry to bring this up, but that person is on the planning commission. And it begs to be asked, not because I'm accusing anybody of anything in particular, but it begs to be asked because I've looked into the fact that there's many towns in Rochester, in Vermont, that have planning boards and select boards that have written letters saying this violates their town plan. They were not as affected by scenic things. They were not on a scenic byway. They were not directly visited by so many people that love our unspoiled mountains. And those towns wrote those letters. One town even hired a lawyer to help them write the letter, and it was denied. So I can't help but ask the questions, and I'm just being totally honest, what is going on here? I felt like at the outset, when I looked at the town plan, that other people would come to the same conclusion. and I'm not saying anybody has to think like me. But there's certain things in the town plan that do need analysis by, you know, endangered species analysis and stuff, but there's other things that don't need analysis that are clear. And I have sat at every meeting for for a year now that I know of, and it's been very frustrating. The energy and attitude toward people that are just concerned or have lived on land for years and years has been, in my opinion, caused a lot of animosity. And it's felt like instead of working together to protect our beautiful town or talk about what our town plan says, I feel like it's become an argument, and it's very disappointing because I love this place and I want it to stay this way, and I want the people that have come to me, that have lived here forever, that love it because it's unspoiled, the new people that love it because it's unspoiled, the realtors I've talked to, they're like, I'll write a letter because I sell houses to people that want this to be unspoiled. The people that come for one day, the people that come for 1 month that don't want this place spoiled. It's pretty unanimous. I've spoken to one person that wanted the tower put up. Okay, I know there's people, and that's fine, everybody's opinion, but it is a very strong majority. And it's very frustrating to me to watch the process and be told that this is a scenic byway and that it was a violation of our town plan, and then when the final meeting last week came out, the scenic byway language was taken out. And I'm sorry, but it's just disappointing to see the teeth taken out of a letter. And it's super disappointing because from what I've heard, when that happens, the PUC usually just grants permits to cell phone towers. So what I'm asking is because the planning board has been, they're not voted on like you guys are, so they've been appointed by the select board. I know you guys didn't want to get involved and you didn't want to write a letter in the pre-permitting process, but I feel like it's necessary. I feel like it's necessary for you guys to do a simple dive into basically what our town plan says. I know you have done a lot of it already, and I'm sure you have your own opinions, but I feel like it's time to hear from the select board. It's very frustrating. It's very frustrating to feel like there's just this go around of misinformation going on. And I'm really frustrated about it. So I hope you guys could reconsider writing a letter in this process right now, because sometimes that can stop a permit from going further. I've heard it in multiple towns when a select board wrote a letter noting their town plan that the Vertex company or other company did not go forward with their permitting and applications. So I'm asking you guys to be more involved and to honor our town plan, whether it's what we individually like or not. Our town plan is very specific wording, and we're asking for that. Thanks.
When it becomes an action item, when there's an application filed. Last year, we had an intent to apply at the same period of time. And the application never came. That was a very different select board back then. Two new people on with me. And so I think that taking the action from a select board when there is no request for action to take place because the application has not yet been filed. Once the application is filed, then it will become an action item. And at this point, we are just taking testimony, we're listening, we're documenting, we're building whatever case, and when we get there, we will have an opinion.
Thank you.
It may not happen till next year, which might be a different select board member, or different circumstances, so I'm not gonna knee jerk it.
I understand. It's just that the planning board that you guys have appointed has written a letter that I feel does not represent our town plan, and that's why I feel it calls you guys into action. That's what my opinion is.
I think the planning board is pulling it together in a very good fashion. So, from what I know along with the planning board. Okay, Deb. This is new information. You're bringing us new information.
Kind of. Yeah. Okay, So I've been one of the few people doing.
Can't hear you.
I've been one of the few people doing, asking for signatures on a petition. And what struck me is that, well, there are a lot of people that say, oh, we need it for the tourists that come through. We need Verizon for tourists, and that's as far as they think about it, so they're for it. But I've been struck with a lot of people saying, I'm new to the area. I have a home that I live in part of the year, and I've come here to get away from that. I live in a city and I don't want to be, I want to get away from it, so they're adamantly opposed now to this kind of thing. And so my thought is to just kind of think, to weigh, you know, if a lot of people are saying, it might be in the minds of the select board and the planning board, that, well, we need to do this for the tourists. But if you just sort of think a little bit differently, it could be that you'd be attracting more tourists and more people to a place that does not have such a thing. Does not have a cell tower and just all the conveniences. And that would mean that, I mean, like Ben said, it would open the door to more all around. So I just think Vermont should keep in keeping with its image of being a pure place, but that's why people come here in the first place. So,
Thank you. Anybody else? Want to talk now?
I just had a
Nobody on
question about responding to the, your last comment. It was just, it's about, that you guys are, you're confident the planning commission has it all covered. Have you guys been in touch with other towns that have been prospected by tower companies to see how they've handled it? Yeah, okay, great. What towns?
Tunbridge and Stockbridge
Great. Thank you.
and Granville. Okay.
Thank you, Pat.
Hi again, thank you. I just wanted to point out that towns have different town plans. I've called towns and talked to town clerks to find that out. And so the argument made the other day by someone on the planning commission was, well, another town allowed it. Well, that's not relevant to our town because each town has a different town plan. And each town has a different issue with different byways and different issues. For example, the towns that I spoke to today to an attorney who told me, like we've been saying, but he specifically told me, he said, the town boards need to oppose it or else it will go through, okay? So I want to read what Ben was saying. This cannot be, oh, well, let's see what the state does. They take you guys very serious, and I was told today that. I'm sure that's not 100% true, but that's basically the general quote unquote rule, as he said. And he is in a town that stopped the tower. There's many that have been stopped on issues that are smaller. And what I wanted to mention is that it doesn't matter what other towns do. It's only specific to our town plan. So Manchester, Vermont, for example, has an attorney for the town. And they specifically helped argue the town's position of their town plan. And I was asked by this person, does your town have an attorney that represents the town?
Of course we do.
Who is the attorney? Who is the attorney that represents the town?
His name is Jim Barlow, but you would have to ask permission to use his services if he was billing us.
Okay, I understand. Okay, sorry, I wasn't specific, I was just telling what other people have done. And so the issue is that Verizon goes away, Vertex, easier, the shorter time that they're in the game. The more they invest time and money into a project, the more skin they have in the game, and the harder it is for them to go away. So the problem with waiting to see what others do with the state is that people get more entrenched, just like any of us. If we go and make dinner, then we want to eat it. If we wait, you know, it's just human nature. And so I wanted to suggest one other thing that a person told me on the phone today, called a prospect or prospective survey. And she said, has it been done? No, what this is, now I'm not looking to have another tower on another ridge. We're not saying we're against cell phones. I have one in my pocket back there. it's the wrong place for this tower, and this prospective survey is something that the town can say, this is the wrong place, we won't allow it here, okay? We don't invite Vertex to come back, but it's not like, don't feel like you're saying, we're never gonna have any cell phones in the town of Rochester, like, they could propose something if they want to later, that's not your guys' problem, but if they specific to this town of Manchester mentioned this survey as a way to put off and say, this is the wrong place, you can do what you want, this survey can be done, and you can do it somewhere else, not near houses, not near scenic byways, in their case, not near a park and not near a trailer park with people in it. So, and the last thing I wanted to just ask you, we've asked before of both boards, how much money is the town of Rochester gonna make in taxes from the increased the rate for commercially zoned land?
I don't know that at this time.
How can
The
we find-
application hasn't even been applied for, so it'd be pretty hard to just kind of estimate that out and calculate that out, so.
Could somebody give us an estimate, because obviously there's a plan with this amount of land that's would be leased for 50 years. With not, it has to be, there's lots of aspects to that, it's obviously a large area with the road and the whole top and all that.
I could probably work on that. I'd prefer to do it after an application was filed, but
I think some of us just wanted to know that, but anyway, that's just what I wanted to say about how other towns have handled it, and if you guys want examples of what other towns have done with their town plan as an example, I mean, there's lots of them out there. There's so many that I just have contact. I don't have the time in the day to talk to all the people that are calling me back about what happened in their town and how it was stopped because of their town plan. So again, it's not that we're looking for no technology. We're looking for this to be done in the right way. Thank you.
thank you. Yep, you have run it. Okay, are we at that point yet?
Yeah, yep.
Everybody clear? I move to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.